What is going on, movie lovers and bud smokers, and welcome back to another episode of 5 on It. I am Francisco.
And I'm Sir Frazier.
And on today's episode, we are going back to 2010 to review the Joseph Kosinski directed movie, Tron Legacy. But before we go any further into that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share, comment, drop us a like. Is Tron Legacy one of your favorite movies? I know it has a banging ass soundtrack, and it still holds up to this day.
All right, but yeah, so this week we wanted to kind of take a look at Tron Legacy because Tron Ares is going to be dropping October 10th, and this felt like a really fun time to go back and revisit this movie. I'd seen this years ago. I didn't see it in the theater, unfortunately, but I did see it some time ago, and I remember the visuals were a really strong point. Of course, Daft Punk doing the soundtrack.
You see they got a little cameo, too, in there. They were the DJs in the club.
Yes, I love that, man. Yeah. That was a really fun cameo. And this movie also was a long-anticipated sequel to Tron, which was released in 1982. We've got Jeff Bridges returning from the first movie as Jeff Flynn. Garrett.
Also, the actor that plays Alan.
That's right.
He
comes back. Garrett Hedlund as well as Sam Flynn. Olivia Wilde as Cora.
Yeah.
It's like a solid. Also, we also have Michael Sheen, Bruce Boxleitner. We also have Cillian Murphy.
Yeah,
he has a small cameo as one of the board members.
Yeah, he's just the new engineer that does the programming when Kevin goes missing, goes MIA.
Yeah. So
it was kind of nice to see him pop up. I mean, he literally only has 3 lines, maybe, if that.
Yeah, he has a very small role. But this movie has it got mixed reviews when it dropped. I know I read that it's kind of become a bit of a cult classic since. But I mean, it had a budget of $170 million, and it hit $410 million.
I know they said it probably.
You got merch, cool merch,
dude, and
the soundtrack.
The game. I was looking up a little bit of research. I was like, did the game come first? Because I know there's a Tron game. Or did that movie come? And it's like the game actually came after the movie. So it's like you get a video game based on the movie as well. And even though it didn't make $1 billion or even crack the 500 million RAM, I mean, it still pretty much broke even. So, I mean, I think that's a decent success.
Yeah.
Especially for a movie that's coming out, the first one came out in 82?
Yeah.
And so this is about 30 years, give or take later. Granted, the first highlight of this movie, obviously, are the effects. I mean, the effects stand out crazy well. When you go and you watch the first Tron, when they go into the grid and everything like that, compared to Tron Legacy, it's night and day.
It is. I mean, it looks leaps and bounds better.
And it still holds up to the day. This is the first time I'm watching this movie. And so I'm trying to watch it with a critical lens, and I'm not watching in theaters. I don't have I have a decent TV, but I don't have anything crazy good. And the effects, when they're actually in the grid, you see the ships and all that stuff. And when they have aerial views of when the ships come in, they show the actual city or whatever. Bro, it looks amazing, man.
Oh yeah. I'm pissed that I didn't see this in 3D. I really am.
I would actually see this in theaters
if they reissue this, and I hope that they will. It seemed like a great time to potentially do that, just because the Ares is coming out here soon.
I bet there's some local theaters maybe doing
a special
I
would totally see that, man, because I think this movie is really made for the theaters. But one thing that I thought was really interesting just researching this movie was Kosinski. There was kind of a competing vision for what they wanted this sequel to look like. I think Kosinski and some others were concerned about essentially parroting The Matrix and trying to mimic what the success and the storyline of that. But he ended up asking for some money to do essentially what became a proof of concept short film. They aired this at Comic-Con, I think, a couple years before it was greenlit. And it was tremendously successful, very well received. It mostly took place on the bikes, or the light bikes. What are they called? Actually, what are they called?
I think they're called light bikes.
Delivered this proof of concept, and Disney ended up greenlighting it based off of this really promising and well received short film that he made. And that, it's always interesting, man, kind of looking at the politics behind what pictures get greenlit and what essentially just is in purgatory, never really, there's no real movement seemingly. Yeah. But that was really interesting. But diving into this movie, the one negative that I have, and it's clear early on, is when we're introduced to Kevin Flynn. It's 1989. He is the CEO of Encom, this tremendously successful company, and he is talking with his son, Sam. He's explaining to him that this new incredible discovery has happened, and that's what has been consuming his time and why he's working these late nights. And he promises him that he'll be back, that they'll play together. We're on the same team. And we see Kevin Flynn, and this is the real knock that I have about the movies from a effects standpoint, is I just think that the de-aging technique, the de-aging software that they're using, it typically, can you think of an example where it has looked good?
Honestly, maybe the best was Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's at the very beginning scene when they show him driving with Peter's mom.
Yeah, when Ego, yeah.
Because they don't do or Samuel Jackson maybe in Captain Marvel. It's because they also maybe they do it as well in Tron Legacy, but they didn't de-age him too far down. It's at least with Kurt Russell, he's they just shaved me and then they do a little bit of effects. It wasn't complete de-age.
Yeah, I think that the de-aging they used for Kevin Flynn and Clue, I don't know, man. I think that's where it was most apparent that the technology, it feels more dated there.
Yeah, it still hasn't caught up. It still doesn't look.
But that's my point, though. Exactly. That's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, but who's done it successful? Because I remember Scorsese de-aged De Niro in The Irishman. That did not look good at
Downey
all.
Jr. got de-aged in Civil War when and even then
didn't really look good.
It still looks and I think that because they were still it was a program, so they could get away with it looking like a program because they're oh, this is just a simulation,
right?
But
this is a therapy.
Honestly, I feel like that's the reason why they shot it the way they did at the beginning is because they're trying to hide it in a way because they don't show his face that much.
And I'm okay with doing that. Listen, light is your friend, especially when we've talked about this with practical effects, where we're talking about Star Wars, or movies or Alien, right? When we get these outer space shots, utilize that darkness, utilize the shades to help camouflage where the technology isn't fully up to date or capable of rendering, right?
I feel like the face
and editing.
Yeah, the face, honestly, if you look at it quickly, we don't do long shots, it doesn't look so noticeable because you're not really looking that much at it. But when they do those long shots and the camera just stays on the face, and especially when he goes into Flynn's hideout, whatever you want to call it. I feel when they hit the lights on, it's you hit the lights on in the club. You're whoa, what the fuck is happening now?
Exactly.
Because now I'm seeing all the imperfections.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
It just looks too much like a video game.
Yeah, it looks too synthetic. But that said, one of the things that I do really appreciate is we cut to this news segment, right, where we're getting all of this news about Flynn essentially disappearing and the speculation of what happened to him and the fallout for Encom. And then we're hearing him giving this really impassioned speech about the grid essentially being like that next frontier.
Yeah.
Almost speaking about it in the way that we've talked about space.
Yeah.
And he talks about it as he's almost like this kind of quasi like Steve Jobs, but there's also some of the dude from like the Lebowski.
Yeah.
But there's also like somebody described like there's like some John Lennon, like Bill Gates also kind of peppered in there. It's like his personality is like clearly draws from like some, you know, he's clearly like picking from some very obvious inspirations, but it was like really cool though, like that speech and kind of just helping us kind of get up to speed with who he's become in the world. Yeah. Especially since we hadn't, you know, if you haven't seen the first.
And when you mention like he's kind of like has these different like personalities, so to speak, like 2 lines when he talks in the beginning, when he I think what is at the beginning now I'm thinking about it, he mentions like something about jazz.
Oh yeah,
but like
jazz, man.
That line,
such
I was like
Lebowski line,
exactly.
Bro. Like,
or even when his son Sam, because she's like, we're never gonna make it in time, and then they just grab a bucket parachute, whatever, and they just jump out the window, and he's just like radical, man.
Only Jeff Bridges gets away with that, man.
Dude, you know what's kind of funny? We're going to be reviewing The Thing here next week, but
starting off Halloween with a bang.
Yes, sir. But when I was looking in Tron, it was so funny. They were like, "Is Jeff Bridges and Kurt Russell related?" I was like, "Isn't that kind of fun?" I was like, "We're about to do a Kurt Russell movie," but it's like, I wonder why they even had one of those. Like, are they related?
Both have beards.
I think they're both white dudes that have great beards, and they're both just kind of cool fucking dudes. Like, even when we get to the thing, I'm gonna mention how just awesome Kurt Russell is. He's one of my favorite actors too. Like, with Bill Paxton.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about when we get to that review as well.
Definitely tune in for that when it comes out.
But you know, I think what was cool is that we get a very like kind of accelerated snapshot of what happened to Flynn, gets us up to speed, and then we pop up to the future 20 some odd years later, and we see Sam, who's really has his life has just kind of almost been drifting. He's not very involved in income despite having you know, being the majority shareholder. And, you know, he's also feeling tension with the company and its reluctance to give away some free software, which is what, you know, his father envisioned. But, you know, after that, right, Alan, who was in the original, comes to him and tells him that, you know, he's gotten a page from the old arcade and it's from his dad's. It's that from his dad's number, and this number's been disconnected for years.
Yeah, 20 years.
So he pops up, and I mean, once we get to the grid, dude, this movie really picks up, not only visually, but like there's like this ominous vibe to this really dystopian world that we're transported to on the grid, and the visuals kick it up a notch. And we're beginning to really, you know, this movie is it reminds me of, and it has a very much a Wizard of Oz vibe. Yeah. And that's something that I think the writers, when they were working on this, Pixar was also involved with the writing of the script. Yeah, and some of the rewrites. I was like, yo, Pixar, they know what they do with that pen,
baby. when it comes to just story stuff, I mean, the effects obviously, but like Pixar kills it with their stories.
God damn. They got a grown man crying.
Dude, and making it appropriate for kids and adults. Like, man, Pixar just knows how to make stories, man.
Oh, my
Sometimes
God.
the effects can be whatever, hit or miss, I guess, with some movies. But their stories, to me, are always killer.
Oh, hell yeah.
Man, I feel like one thing, I mean, obviously, that you mentioned, like, they had, like, a Matrix aspect to it, Wizard of Oz as well, where, like, maybe you're just, like, this character is getting drifted away into this other world. I feel like they kind of missed something where like they could have shown like a cool effect of Sam getting brought into the world. I feel like it kind of just happened just like that, because like when
like him bringing something.
No, like when because he's sitting at the computer and when the light goes on,
the laser,
yeah. I feel like they could have did something cool, because even in the original Tron, they show Jeff Bridges kind of getting zapped and the screen freezes and he's just like, oh. I feel like just like when Cora, when she's fighting and her arm gets like cut off and like how it digitizes. Yeah. I feel like they should have did something like that with Sam. Like they could have like
as he's transporting.
Yeah, like as soon as he hits it, the screen maybe could have frozen, and then they could have showed him like digifying or something like that. I feel like they could have. I mean, I'm not gonna say they dropped the ball completely in like the effects, because the effects is fucking killer in this movie. But man, it would have been cool to see something like that. Especially because like when you think of the Matrix too, when obviously the tornado with Alice in Wonderland, but then not Alice in Wonderland, but Wizard of Oz. Yeah. But when Neo gets into the Matrix and you hear that scream, and then you see the shit going down his throat and stuff. And bro, I feel like they could have just did something, a cool effect to bring him in, because he just shows up that he's at the Flynn's bar or at the arcade, whatever, and then he just comes out, and then that's when he just gets,
Well, I thought the effects of him actually becoming digitized, they were a little subtle because it was he was transported to a dark room. So I feel like that also a little bit maybe. I wonder if the room would have been brighter if you would have noticed. I wonder if it would have hit different.
Maybe, yeah.
Because the dark contrast of the grid room he's transported to, it's very dark, very grim, very much represents and embodies like the kind of menace, totalitarian kind of style of society that the grid is under Clue's grip. Yeah. But I want, because I did notice that it did kind of seem like, you can kind of see like, God, I'm trying to think how to describe it. It was almost like he was broken up into like pixels and then transported in like this kind of like streamy way to the grid.
But he said maybe if the room like was a little lighted a little bit differently and like would have popped a little bit more, because like I said, like the arm when that gets sliced off and how I'm that just comes out, you're like, whoa, shit, what the fuck is that?
Well, I mean, we're with him too as other programs are getting picked up by Clue's henchmen.
The dude with the missing face.
This one guy is just praying, please don't send me to games. And as they're all
kills himself.
Yeah, right. And they're all, he's trying to. None of the henchmen realize that he's a user at this point. Yeah, they all think that he's a program, and so he's sent to the games. And when we see him, with the four ladies come out and basically strip him and put on his armor. That was really dope to see. And then, they give him his disc, which essentially like is his history. It's like his life coded onto like made data. Yeah. Right.
It's like it shows you pretty much everywhere you've been.
The story of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Which would be kind of cool, honestly. Like
that's actually crazy, right, to think about.
If you literally could have a disc where you can go and physically see like your memories and stuff like that, dude, that would be pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, that's
some Black Mirror shit too. Huh? That's some Black Mirror shit.
Yeah, no, that's facts. That's
like
true.
How they have the contact lens where you can like literally like see it in your eyeball. Like, bro.
I haven't watched a lot of Black Mirror.
Honestly, I haven't watched the new series or the new season. I heard it's good because I think it got nominated at the Emmys. But the first few seasons of Black Mirror, bro, they are killer. Word. And you can just jump around because they're not like, linear or anything like that. But there are some stories where you're like, it really makes you think. Like one where, like quickly, I don't want to go too much into the weeds, but one was just like, the woman's husband dies and she's able to bring him back. Like, they ship you a body
like that cemetery style.
In a way, sort of like where they ship you almost like how those mattresses come in those boxes and then you just roll it out and just pops up. Bro, they give you a body that looks exactly like your loved one. You take it to the tub, fill it with water, and then all of a sudden it just comes alive. But it's that thing of like, would you? Because it's not quite them because they don't do the things that they normally used to do.
They don't even have souls, do they?
Not really, because she was just
hell no.
Bro, she was like, just leave me alone, and then he would just walk out, and then he would just stand by the fence, just kind of all kind of creepy, and then she would go out there like, what are you doing? Like, you told me to leave, so I left. And then, bro, it's an eerie, but it also makes you think like, would I do something like that if I lost somebody I loved?
But they're not going to be the same person.
Exactly. Well, that's why Pet Sematary, like when you bring them back, they're not quite who they are anymore. They're gone.
Yeah, facts.
You need to let them go, unfortunately. But I mean, that's more of a sadder episode. There are some cool ones that are more sci-fi horror. Like there's these robot dogs that are after this chick. Bro, it's a wild series. You need to check it out for sure.
I think so. Hold up. So getting back to this movie. I think the battles where we see them, Sam is battling against these people with his identity disc. Those scenes were really cool. I liked the way like the gravity would work, where the rooms would rotate upside down, and that whole sequence was super fun. And
all the action sequences,
to be fair, all of them are.
It's cool how they go from like fighting to like the light, I guess called light cycles.
Oh
light
man,
cycles, when planes, man.
Yes, and all the transformations when they transform into the light cycles to the planes, it still looks great,
dude. And it goes in slow mo. That's when you utilize slow motion.
Yes,
Zack Snyder sometimes
talk your shit.
Zack Snyder gets a little too crazy with the slow mo, where it's like, bro, I don't need to see a casing of a bullet dropping in slow fucking motion, but they utilize the slow motion fucking so well. And dude, even when like he gets to the room and then he sees that they've escaped. And then old boy's gonna be like, death to the user. And he just slices his throat. And then they grab the fucking, I'm not sure he even grabbed anything. But then they just pop out the fucking window, slow-mo, go to the planes, and they're just fucking off.
Yeah.
Dude, all the action scenes are fucking badass.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I was gonna say, I think what's really cool is that once Sam is battling Rensler, one of the other masked computer programs. So I think we later learned was Tron.
Yeah, which is kind of a cod in my book. Somewhat.
I appreciated, like, you know, he had become corrupted in this world, you know, even though his mission was maybe different than Clue's, but we realized that you know, they bring Sam up and it's revealed that you know, somebody who looks like his father hasn't aged is there, and they're talking, and Sam learns that that's not his father, that's Clue.
Yeah. And
Clue has essentially taken charge, and this is his world now.
Yeah.
And we don't really know where his father is
until we meet Cora.
And she pops up right after the light battle, or in the middle of the light battle. Bro, I loved that whole scene. Was super fun.
And you thought they were like holding on in the lights battle too. Like, yeah, they were doing their thing, and like even like
it started off rough. But.
Yeah, and then like God, you thought like the old boy falls off the bike and he's right there, and then he just comes in and fucking gets his homie, kills him, bro. That fucking light cycle scene was killer.
Yeah, I think that as this story goes on, there's two things that happen that are really significant for me in this story. Is the introduction of, well, maybe three things. We learn Cora takes him to Flynn, right?
Yeah.
So his father's still alive. He essentially has been trapped here because he couldn't get back to the portal. And we also learn Cora is she's ISO, which is an isomorphic algorithm, and she basically is the product of digital jazz.
Yeah. What did they say? Life finds a way.
Yes.
Life found a way. Yeah.
So these life forms who are part code, part potentially human, right? Like they came into being
just
naturally, yeah, in the grid.
Yeah.
And this is what he was so eager and excited when he was talking to young Sam 20 years before. So that's another really important revelation, is that we meet her and everything that she is and her significance for the broader world. And then we also learn what set Clue off. And he's only doing what Kevin tasked him with, or what he understood Kevin to task him with, which is to create the perfect system.
Yeah.
And the ISOs weren't perfect. And so he couldn't square that in this world that he was designed to create with. And when he senses and feels that Kevin has betrayed that by embracing the ISOs, that's where he launches his rebellion against his creator.
Does a coup.
Yeah, and he destroys, literally, like, commits genocide against all except one ISO.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, like, that storyline, that puzzle piece, getting to understand, like, why, it's like, I mean, it's very much like kind of Frankenstein type story, right? Or like David.
Yeah.
You know, he comes to resent his creator because he feels he's gone back on his word, and you know.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a really great story point in this whole movie.
You know, one thing. I mean, it's not like I was going to mention a con. It's not a huge con or anything, but like how Alan, I mean, his pretty much his digital version of him. How Tron gets reprogrammed to become. I kept calling him the Rizzler, even though I don't know why they call him the Rinsler. It's like, bro, whatever.
Program got Riz.
Yeah. First of all, like this dude is doing like parkour like everywhere. Like even like when he just hops up on shit, just has to do a little flippity flip.
Yeah. Some Power Ranger shit.
Dude, they're getting a little too much sometimes.
Yeah.
But one thing I was just like, because when Kevin finally gets to the grid and they meet up with, they see the Rizzler. I'm just gonna call him the Rizzler. It's just gonna be easier for me. And then Quora decides like to go off and try to save them. Blah blah blah. But he sees how he's moving because he doesn't remove his helmet at all. I'm like, how does he even recognize him as Tron? He just sees him and he's just like, Tron?
I wonder if he recognizes fighting.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, is it because he's using 2 discs and that's how like he was fighting?
Oh, yeah.
That's how he was fighting when like that was the last time he saw him.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, maybe they should have like maybe Korra could have like kicked his helmet. Like, remember how? Well, I'm not sure if you watched the Obi-Wan series. But there's a part where Obi-Wan is fighting Vader and he knocks half the mask off, and like he's talking in between Vader's voice and Anakin's voice.
Oh yeah,
dude, it's a badass scene.
Yeah, that's it's one of the best scenes in the whole series. For
yeah,
sure.
it's sick, and the fight itself was pretty cool too.
Yeah,
but
he's 1 and 2 against Obi.
Dude, when he's like, it wasn't you, that it was Anakin. Like that whole speech that he gives.
Yeah,
before, like when he's talking,
very chilling.
Man.
Also, the speech that he gives, was it?
The chick with the 2 lightsabers.
Yes.
Ahsoka.
Yo, the speech he gives her when towards the end of that series, man, that was also good.
Even like their fight.
That series was fun. I don't know why people were hating on it.
It was okay. I thought it was fine, but
it wasn't Mando. You feel me?
Nah.
Yo, have you seen the trailer yet?
I thought it was cool.
I haven't seen it yet.
So some people are hating on this because I don't know, because there's like this just feels like
damn the haters. What do you think?
Honestly, I thought for a first trailer, I thought it was solid. Yeah,
Okay.
It feels just like an episode of The Mandalorian, but it's like, yeah, I'll wait until I see more because people want to see more like grander things. Because even when you do see like I don't know what they call them exactly in the lore, but those giant walking things on the side of that cliff. They brought them in at Empire Strikes Back when they're like they swoop up the legs and they knock them over.
Yeah, those
little snow walker things.
Yeah,
Yeah, they brought those into the trailer as well. And so I just want to see like some some grand type of like action pieces or like set pieces.
You know you're gonna give you that, man.
So like for a first
Star
trailer,
Wars.
I thought it was cool. Like I'm not one of the the diehards or anything like that. For a first teaser, I thought it was pretty solid. Yeah. And I love like the artwork, the poster, and like the lettering. Man. Bro, it looks like
that theme song
school.
hits.
Yeah.
Slapper.
And honestly, people can talk all the like you said, the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian are great. 3rd season it got a little rocky at times. But people are going to see this movie.
Oh yeah, I'm going to see it open weekend.
And then if it's actually really good, I can
sure.
easily see this movie making getting close to $1 billion. Like if you come out of this movie and you're like, damn,
it's already got a lot of fandom because of the characters.
So it just depends, obviously, on the quality.
Yeah.
But back to Tron though, like I said, like it's not a con or anything, but how he recognizes him as Tron, I was like, bro, how are you seeing him? Just because he's using 2 discs or because of his fighting style? I don't know. Like they could have maybe did something where like she kicks part of his helmet off or he just removes his helmet or something like that. Then he could have had that realization. Yeah. But that just seemed a little bit past me. Well, not a huge negative.
I think one of the things that works for the story is that there's the countdown for when the portal closes. So now they, in order to escape, they have to they try. Initially, Korra sends Sam to Zeus, who ends up betraying them. Zeus is kind of like
David Bowie.
He definitely is. Yeah, definitely give him David Bowie vibes. But he's kind of like playing the fence, right? He is also has ties to like the underground resistance movement, but he also is a backstabber and willing to sell Sam out or sell the Flynns out to Clue to run the city. So like he's a piece of shit. You can't really trust him. But once he does get the disc, that just kind of like ramps up the tension because of what Clue can do with that and all the knowledge that it contains.
Dude, when I first saw that scene, I thought old boy like committed like knocked off himself.
Who?
to like when he grabbed like they shoot the little thing because the guy gets it first. The dude in the black.
Oh, yeah.
He gets the disc. And then I thought he
Zeus
literally like
kills him.
hits himself. I was like, why did he just like kill himself? I'm like, that makes
You
no
won.
sense. I'm like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then I had to
Zeus
rewind
got
it.
him.
And then, Zeus, like you see him with his little blaster, his little cane, whatever. And he ended up getting the disc. But man, I guess this is like another like on the same level as like the thing with Tron that I just mentioned, where it's like, man, I get it. Like Clue is just a dude you don't want to mess with, but man, bro, you gave up that disc way too easy.
Yeah.
He just came in your shit, made a drink, gave you the drink, took the disc, and walked out of there. I was like,
I mean, he didn't have the numbers to be fair, but yeah.
I kind of wish they would have maybe made Zeus a little bit more of authority or something like that. Maybe have a little more pushback. Folded. But damn, he folded like a bad lawn chair, man. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, but it's like, bro, Zeus, you did all that, and you did your little David Bowie dance when you got the fucking disc, and you literally just gave it up for a drink. You didn't even get to enjoy the drink,
right?
Because your ass got blown up.
Well, I like the scene where Cora comes to save and help fight with Sam. That was a pretty cool fight scene. I mean, dude, we talked about this earlier. The cameo with Daft Punk was really dope. I love the soundtrack. It's very atmospheric, fits this movie so well.
Yeah.
Makes me really hyped to see what Nine Inch Nails does for the Aries soundtrack. But dude, I mean, this soundtrack is so perfect for this movie.
Yes, a good soundtrack can easily like win or lose an audience to me, like in a movie, and it can just like raise the stakes. Like when you have that score, whether it's a score or a soundtrack. I mean, I think they do really well in both areas. But when the music and everything is like really, it just raises everything up for me. And when that club scene is hidden, they show Daft Punk in there doing their little thing.
Yep.
But the one bad thing I will say, there's one little. I got some nitpicks with this movie. It's not perfect. Is when Flynn comes to the club, he literally just comes in, touches the floor, and then the music stops, and it's like
He was like their god.
Let's go. I'm like, what the
He's
fuck
their
was
creator.
that?
Yeah. It was
That
cool.
just seemed. That just seemed. I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, did he do something that I just missed? I mean, you see his power, like why he does that at the end. He has more of an effect with that little maneuver. But in the club, I was like, what the fuck? You just turned the music off and you're like, let's go.
Shut down the power.
And you got your disc took. You didn't do shit. And then you yelled at your kid. You yelled at Sam afterwards. You've done enough.
Yeah, he was pissed. You're fucking up my zen, man.
Yeah.
You're messing with my zen.
That's what I like. He wanted to just like flip shit on his kid. Like, know it. We all saw it. And he's just like, yeah, you're just messing up my zen, man. You're just messing up my zen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole process, another really cool, but it was more of it was a pretty small scene, but when he is looking at, it's the revelation, right, that Cora is a ISO, and he is repairing her arm through her identity disc. Yeah. The visuals of that were really cool. And then just seeing him kind of pull out the damaged code and it become like it was like a moth or like a butterfly or something that like flew away. Yeah. Like that was like a really cool a little small scene. But when they're actually in the home stretch, when they're flying towards the portal, oh dude, like I mean, that whole scene where they go up to try to get behind one of their pursuers, that was just a really cool scene.
Even like the lights that fall.
The water was dope. Even like when we see Tron fall into the water and we see him kind of become redeemed and his colors turn back to the natural. Like kind of that like that white light blue. Yeah, well, you see him like he's having like that type of like. See, and that I mean, like I said, I wish they maybe would have removed his helmet at some point. Yeah. Because then they could have had that when he flies over and they have that like visual. Then I think that would have just maybe that could have been the first time because then or maybe like when he sees him fighting, he's kind of like, is that like maybe a little bit more confused of like, is that actually him? Well, especially for fans who are, I mean, because here's the thing, you already committed to use this de-aging technology for Clue. You could have easily just done, I mean, not easily, but I mean, you could have shown us Tron, which would have been a throwback to the original.
The other one, yeah.
And just kind of also.
I mean, they already had him in the movie, too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I agree with you. I think that they could have showed his face. I wish they would have.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a long thing. Just like he could have the helmet on in that fighting scene, and then he looks at him. He sees the double discs in his fighting style, and he's kind of like, "Is that Tron?" And then when they goes over, maybe there's something else happens, and or just Rizzler just like, "Fuck it, man, I'm taking my helmet off. I'm showing my face." And then when they have that flying scene, then that's when they have that moment of
when
like,
he flies over him.
yeah, and he's like, "Oh, it's actually you." So then when like Tron is having like those moments of flashbacks, and he starts hearing everything, I feel like that could have maybe hit just a little bit better for me. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. But I feel like they could have maybe stuck the landing a little bit more with with that character.
I think they could have. I thought the tension between Flynn, Kevin Flynn, and Clue, like that. You know, those two, like their dialogue, I think was some of my favorite in this movie. Mm-hmm. Even in the flashbacks, but especially at the end where Kevin acknowledges like why, like he basically takes culpability and accepts accountability for Clue becoming the way that he did.
Yeah,
because he was only doing. He didn't understand. He was limited by what Kevin knew about the world at that time, and that's something that he highlights. Right? He said these were things that the imperfections are a part of it, and you couldn't like. I hadn't accepted that. Or I hadn't really internalized that, and that's why you carry that flaw.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really a flaw. He was doing exactly what he told him to do, which was to build a perfect system and perfection. And when he's giving that speech, Clue's giving that speech to the soldiers. He's telling them that we're going to rid this world, the other world, of its imperfections.
Yeah.
So like he's been amassing this entire army, reallocating programs, planning to enter the portal into the real world. I thought that was like a really fascinating story point as well. If he was able to get, I'm guessing if he was obviously able to get his disc, but he was able to bring the whole army though with him though. Well, they all have discs. Because remember, because Cora, I love the detail at the very end where Sam and Cora. First of all, the visuals of them, like him showing his desk. Dope as hell. I still like the poster though in the first one a little bit better, just because it zooms out a little bit more. You see, just like it just pops a little bit more for me. It does pop a little bit more. I agree, but they're both dope. To be clear, I like both of them. Yeah, for sure. Both were pretty dope, and the soundtrack for this, I'm suspect is a hell of a lot better than the OG. Yeah, I want to do like, but with the de-aging being a little bit subpar as it is, and I get it. Like do you think they should have just recasted like the character of Clue? Obviously, it's supposed to be like Kevin. Do you think they should have just maybe recast it and then just like maybe made it a whole other different person? Jeffrey Bridges is obviously a great character, or not character, but he's a great actor. But I start thinking of that as like, especially like in movies when like an actor's playing like dual roles, like a twin or something like that. It's like. Do you do Gemini? Like that was even that de-aging. I didn't think it looked that great. Nah, not from what the stills that I saw. That movie got insane towards the end in a bad way. Yeah. I was like, what are we doing here? Where are we? But I started thinking about that. I was like, man, maybe they should have just got a different actor. Cast somebody else for the younger version. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to like, why doesn't he look like Bridges? I mean, you could just got a younger dude, slick back his hair. And I don't know. I just kind of thought about that when I was watching this movie. Like, did they miss an opportunity maybe just to cast a different actor? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. Because it kind of sticks out, man. Like I said, the longer you look at his face, it's just like... And he's such a prominent character, Clue. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I wonder... No. Yeah. I don't know, man. I really don't know what the right role decision... Because, I mean, I think you're going to get... blowback. Some people would have given blowback for not maybe trying to use that technology, but also we know Pixar often does try to push the envelope with their visuals. And I'll say Disney, I'm not sure how involved Pixar was, but like just Disney as well. Yeah.
And I'll say, like, it doesn't look like horrible.
No.
But because like some parts, like, especially when the lighting is like on the darker side, it still looks pretty good. Like I said, the longer you stare at it, the more like it kind of pops out. Where it's like, this guy does not look real, and the more you're thinking about that, the more you're not thinking about the actual story that you're trying to watch.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I love the ending too. When unfortunately, Kevin absorbs Clue and they both die. But
allegedly,
allegedly.
Because it looks like he's in the trailer for Ares.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And Sam and Cora are both in the real world, and they're riding off on a very fly Ducati motorcycle.
And it kind of hits to that line when like he goes and when Clue grabs the disc from Flynn thinking it's his, but it's actually Cora's. And
yeah, that was a good bait and switch.
Yeah. And he's just like, he's my son. Of course I'm going to give it to him. It's just like, dude, like... Because it was almost like
understand that.
Yeah, it's almost like Clue was kind of like, I thought like me and you were supposed to do this. It's like, no, dude, like that's my son. Like he will always be number one over anything else. That line when he delivered it hit pretty hard.
Yeah,
but I do agree the ending was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, man, do you have anything else? Otherwise, you can pivot to scores.
No. Oh, hold on. I'm looking at my notes real quick. No, I think I'm actually pretty good. I mentioned everything I wanted to, so I can start us off with the scores if you want.
Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a solid 3.5 for me, because with the effects being fantastic as they are, and the soundtrack and the score, the action scenes, I would say like this has some rewatchability to it. The story does like lack a little bit, I suppose, because with like these video game-esque movies, they sometimes can feel like repetitive in a way, where it's just like the characters going into the real world or opposite like that, where there's like Sonic coming into the real world, or now they're going into Sonic's world. Jumanji is a classic one. Although like those movies still perform well, it does lack a little bit in the story. So like I mean, you can't just break it down as like, Sam gets a page, he goes find his father, they're just trying to escape the grid. So like the story does lack a little bit, like it's like some deepness to it, but the effects are still fantastic, and the action scenes are great.
The soundtrack,
and the soundtrack and the score, and you're still getting some solid performances from Jeff Bridges and Garrett and Olivia Wilde and all of them. So all in all, I will give it a 3.5 for me though. What about you, sir?
Man, I was kind of going back and forth between like a 3 and a 3.5. Here's the thing, man. I really enjoy this movie. I think it's very fun to watch. I think that some of the elements you mentioned visually, it's just once this movie gets kicking off, really kicks off and takes you into the grid world. Yeah. I mean, it's really a enjoyable movie that I could rewatch. Even not if I don't rewatch the whole movie, I could jump in at different points in this movie and still like enjoy it.
I could easily put this movie on, like we were talking about Game of Thrones. I could put this movie on just when I get home, when I'm like unpacking shit and doing like cooking or doing like washing dishes. Just pop Tron Legacy on, and then like in between the set pieces, that's when you're doing shit. But then when the action starts kicking in, then it's like, whoa, wait a minute, the club scene's on. Let me take a look.
I mean, I think I'm going to go with a 3.5. This movie is also interesting because it wasn't all that well received, but I wonder if a lot of people have warmed up to this movie, or if later generations have come to this movie and really enjoyed it.
Random I thought, like with Rotten Tomatoes, I wonder can scores change like over time, like a Tron Legacy. Can people go in that's given scores, or whoever? I guess you can give new scores, I suppose, if you're a new reviewer. But I wonder, can you go in and like change your score after a while? It'd be like,
I don't know about editing, but I mean, I suppose you can. I suppose the score could change, right? Because especially audience, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you go in and just like now you've watched it in a different lens, or now it's starting to grow on you. Like I feel like maybe you can go in and like switch up scores. I just wonder if that's ever happened on like the Rotten Tomatoes website with their movies.
I mean, if
like this used to be 40% and now it's 60%.
Yeah, that would be crazy. It's a hell of a swing.
This movie used to be shit. Now it's not.
This movie was a 90, now it's a 35. Yeah, that's crazy.
But honestly, I think this even though like the score is like on the lower side, what is it actually? It's 51 by critics, 64 for fans. I would say that's
kind of where where I'm at.
I would because this is not a critical.
Maybe like 70.
Yeah, like the critics. And honestly, like I feel like the movie could have been chopped down just a little bit too. Now that I'm looking at the time limit, 2 hours 5 minutes, and the original was about an hour and a half. I feel like you could have shaved this down to a more hour 45 minutes, and maybe it could have been a little bit tighter. Maybe that could have been appealed to the masses a little bit more too.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear what you're saying there. And I mean, also, I think the story could have gone different directions. I almost would have, I could have gone with a movie that showed the rise of Clue. Him solidifying like his power there. Maybe some flashbacks of that would have worked to kind of understand how this world became this, repressive regime, I guess.
I think there's like some sort of Tron animated. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I've heard about that.
Movie
I haven't seen it.
Maybe they go a little further into like exactly why he sees that there are like what's exactly imperfect about the ISOs that he sees about them. So I don't know, that'd be a little interesting. I'm definitely interested to maybe go and watch the first Tron, although the effects are super downgrade. But I definitely just kind of want to see how they do the grid and just how they did it back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Well, that wraps up this week's episode. Stick with us. We're going to be tackling a whole month of Halloween movies. We're going to do some more recent, but also visit the past. So stay tuned.
Yes, sir. Peace.